Hey friends, I have been stuck inside doing my least favorite thing. I don't even know what is going on here. My lovely dad moved and he gave us his washing machine and dryer because ours is old and literally just doesn't work. Like, the fact that we have not upgraded to a new washing machine and dryer is so beyond me. But Nathan and I got this put in last night. So ours are just hanging out here on the back porch and I'm blocked. Like, I can't even get out. I don't know what the thought process was behind that. But it's been raining most of the day. We have bad storms coming again tonight. But while there's a break and it's nice, I'm coming outside because I have been inside cleaning all day. I'm like mentally not even in a good space right now. So before Nathan gets home from work and we have dinner, I wanted to come outside, see what I could harvest from the garden. I don't really have an idea of what I'm gonna cook yet. So that means it's probably gonna be something easy. But I honestly haven't even had a chance to check on anything because when we got home the other day, we were just trying to get everything taken care of animal-wise. It's been raining all day today, and so now it's really just the first time I'm able to kind of come out to the garden and check on stuff. My tomatoes are looking okay. I desperately need to go buy some mulch just to kind of hold some of that water in. And I'm thinking, oh, my noodle beans came up. Check this out, guys. So this happened. Hey, look at you, you cute little thing. A lot of them are starting to come. That's exciting. Look at that one right there. Yes. Well, that is certainly exciting. Wonder what's going on over here. Yep, here we go. Yeah, here we go. That's awesome. Got some weeds. Story of my life, picking weeds. Look at there. That's awesome. So these I actually saved. Oh, look, there's a little carrot that's coming back. So these I actually saved from when I grew them 2 years ago, I believe. So these are actually my seeds. They were still dried up in the pot. I just threw them all in a bucket. That is by far one of my favorite things about growing beans. It's so easy to save the seeds from. I literally just had a pretty good sized bucket. I came out here, I let them all dry on the actual vine, picked them, kept them in that bucket. They've been in my mudroom ever since then, and I just took them out. Ooh, oh my, man, I love going away for a few days and coming back. I got my radishes popping up. Check those out. I think these were the daikon radish. So they're all the way down. So that's awesome. You guys can see my tomatoes aren't honestly as growing as fast as I would have thought. I mean, they're coming up some, and they're still looking like they're having some sort of deficiency. So I may take some fish emulsion and just fertilize around the base and see if that doesn't help give them a boost. I'm having the worst time with my cucumbers. So nothing has come up here yet. Over here I've got one that's come up, but it's been munched down pretty well. I don't even know. I think instead of just sowing one seed and one seed, I'm just gonna load this trellis up and cross my fingers and hope that a couple of them germinate. I don't even know. It's slightly frustrating, but I'm trying not to get discouraged by it. Looks like a ton of my radishes are coming up in this bed right here. You guys see that? Y'all can see all of them. That's exciting. Some of these tomatoes though, I don't know. That is just not ideal. I still have yet to put my beets out. I've got to get that done. And as you guys can see, there's lots. That was either a kiddo or those are some volunteers. And this beautiful thing. Look at that. Wow, that is really, really pretty. I am curious what volunteers are gonna come up. I'm pretty positive that in the zinnia bed, I will have some volunteer tomatoes. just because I know for a fact that tomato seeds got all up in that soil. Over here where I planted my rutabaga, I'm looking and there's a whole lot of little red cabbage, and that is because I came out here the other day and I had a jar that I use for microgreens, and I saw that the entire jar was dumped out in the soil, and so I tried to scoop up as much as I could, but by the looks of it, I don't think that I got them all. Because I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but here's a bunch of red cabbage. So that's what's going on right there. The onions are doing pretty good. They're kind of behind a bit, I feel like, but you can see we're starting to get some bulbs. I just, as early as I put these in the ground, I thought that they would be bigger. However, we did have that crazy snowstorm, so that could be the problem. Looks like this marigold's starting to pop out too. Wow, I am just really loving how these look. It's so cool. I can't wait to see it when it fully opens, you know? Wow, so these onions over here are quite a bit bigger. And it could just be variety too. I'd have to go back and look. Man, something just tore this pepper apart. Look at that. This was one of my sweet peppers. I gotta figure out what's getting in the garden, because that is just, ugh, that is not okay. Look at here too. Man. Okay, usually, look at those, you see them? See those little bugs? So flea beetles are typically really bad with eggplant, but I thought I'd go ahead and give it a go. So usually I am not dealing with pest pressure this early. I mean, really, I can't recall, it's been a long time that I can think back and remember me already dealing with like peppers completely getting nipped down this early. I've never grown eggplant before, but I have been told that flea beetles are really bad in our area on eggplants, and to even possibly wait, but those were some that I had left over from the plant sale, so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and plant it, it'll be fine. But my friend Lauren is growing in a tunnel, and she did a video today showing that like her peppers were just, they had aphids everywhere, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, and she just had these small little pepper plants, and I just don't remember, you know, that happening. And so knowing that they are out, which I'd also been told by so many people that because we had that frost that we probably weren't going to be dealing with near as many pests in the garden, and I'm seeing that that may not be the case. Now granted, with my pepper, I don't know, there's no telling what that was. But now that I know that, I am going to be much more diligent. So we don't use any type of chemicals to combat with pests. A lot of what we do is hand maintenance. And so I'm usually pretty hands-on with my plants. As far as coming out here every day, checking them, looking them over. You know, in the past when I had done the trellis to make you jealous, I was out there pruning heavily, trellising them up well every day. And so it was really easy for me just to check for the aphids and address that, and not even have to find a natural way to cure it. This year, since we're shifting, you know, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more diligent with it. Right now, I'm still just going to look my plants over every day. If I see some sort of aphid or problem like that, I will just go ahead and smush it with my hands. But if it becomes a problem, and I'm noticing it being a really bad problem, I'm probably gonna go ahead and mix up some neem oil and spray on there. I could do some sort of diatomaceous earth around the base of the plant. That's something that I'd want to put on probably earlier in the morning, which is later in the evening, so I could potentially still do that. I just try to avoid putting on anything like that in the hot part of the day, because it can actually like scald your plants and damage them. And so that's what I encourage you to. If maybe you are new to gardening and you're wanting to do an all-natural method and not use pesticides, just look your plant over really well and try to treat it naturally. I know a lot of people do like soapy water, and that's work. I know some people that even use like essential oils in their garden. I'm not experienced in that. Like, I don't know what that looks like. But I do know that if you are really committed to do this naturally, there's a lot of research out there. There's a lot of things you can do that are safe for your plants, you know, and just try it. My mother-in-law even told me, what did she tell me? She told me a trick a couple months ago, and I was like, I've got to try it just for the sake of trying it. And she said that someone took, and this is kind of like one of those old school things, and I'm all about trying out what they did, you know, back before the use of chemicals and stuff in the garden. So she said to take a yellow Solo cup and put Vaseline around it, and that the aphids will be drawn to that and get stuck. And I thought, that's interesting. So interesting that I think I want to try it just to see if it works. Because if so, that would be a very, very easy solution to aphids in the garden. Now granted, if you're growing on a very large scale, you're probably going to have to maybe do some other things. You can buy a lot of beneficial nematodes, you can buy ladybugs, you can buy praying mantises and put them out in your garden, and I've done that in years past and just ordered them on Amazon, and they come huge. And typically what we would do is we wait until the night, and we'd come and stick them on the plants, and as long as they've got things to feed off of, usually they stayed around. We didn't have to worry about it. And so if I start seeing that this is becoming a large problem, I'm probably going to go ahead and order some of those things just to try to get ahead of it. You know, this is going to be my last growing season here, and I want to do it right. I mean, I don't want no stinking pests to get my food. I want to enjoy it. Now, I'm not going to show you everything in the garden because I do have a garden tour scheduled, and I want you guys to see the garden in all its beauty, and hopefully some more things will have popped up by then. I just kind of wanted to go around and check on everything, see if there's any strawberries to harvest for the kiddos. Hopefully by then it gives me enough time to get some mulch a bunch of stuff. I do think this year, as far as mulching, I am going to use straw, which I have not done in many years. I used straw, gosh, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and it's not that I didn't like it, it just sprouted up a lot of wheat seed, and although it is really easy, you know, to just pick that out, I just wanted to see and explore if there were better options. And so I ended up moving to pine shavings, and it worked really well for a couple seasons, and then it started getting really hard and compacted in my soil. It started adding a lot of acidity into my soil, which my plants were being stunted by. And so this year I think I'm just going to go back to straw, and I think that I can manage it okay and just see if it doesn't kind of help everything. It is crazy to me how like the garden is already green. I've got some things to clean out before garden tour. I got all my trays I need to put in the greenhouse. Check out these little babies growing. Okay, I gotta stop. I'm gonna get distracted and show you guys the whole garden. You're not supposed to be in there. What are you doing in there, little fella? What are you doing? Your kids are silly. Your kids are silly. Don't you bite me. It feels absolutely magical out here. Usually I get up early in the morning and I come out to the garden, and most mornings I start my morning in the garden. I'll take Charlie to school, come outside, or even, you know, when I'm getting up super early in the middle of the summer and she's not going to school, she'll just still be asleep, June will be asleep, and I'll be out here, and that's usually my time in the garden. But I have been, it gets so bright out here, so it's really hard to kind of shoot videos, and so I've been coming out here later in the afternoon. And I think this may be my new favorite time in the garden. Like, I am really, really enjoying afternoons out here. Especially like right now, it's just not super hot. I can't wait until we can just start eating our dinners out here, which tonight would actually be a really good night. We could do that. Which reminds me, the whole reason why I came to the garden was to see what was available. So I'm gonna go to our lettuce bed down here. Look at that, just waiting to be picked. Not quite ready. It's in perfect sight. I'll leave that one and let the kids come out here. Well, I know what I am gonna pick. I'm gonna pick this stinking rutabaga because I've been saying I was gonna pick this rutabaga for a month now, and it's still in the ground. I think it's gonna be way too big to actually eat, but we can like eat fresh. I think I can ferment it and it'll still be okay. So it is starting to split on that side. I don't know if you can see that or not. Look at this. Wow, that's kind of hurting my arm. I mean, check out that bad boy. So I'll probably go in and taste it, because this would make really good mashed potatoes, which is usually what we do with rutabagas. We'll roast them and eat them like roasted potatoes, or we'll mash them and eat them like mashed potatoes. But depending on if I can let Nathan to let it go, because he has been asking for me to ferment some stuff, which is why I've been growing a lot of the radishes. I'm gonna go in and fill in this squash bed, because it's gonna take a while before they get really big, and I'm gonna just load that bad boy down with like a ton of radishes. So hopefully I can ferment a bunch of those for him, and he'll give up the rutabaga. I mean, I still cannot believe how big that is. All right, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go pick some greens. Nathan actually just got home. It's kind of late for when we usually eat dinner, but I'm thinking about whipping up just some chickpeas, maybe some black beans, some quinoa, and some fresh picked lettuce, and just kind of having a bowl. That's usually what we do, especially on nights that we like go to the gym and we come home and we don't want to cook a big meal. We'll do like quinoa or rice with a bunch of veggies. So I've got like squash and zucchini I got at the market this weekend, and just kind of make this little bowl. All right, I need to start cooking this anyway, so it'll continue to grow. I should have got a basket. Oh, look at those beans popping up. Oh, and look, this is that amaranth. So this will just be, I mean, I'll have a bunch more, but essentially we'll just have kind of a collage of a bunch of things. Also, anybody else, when you don't bring a basket, you just fill your pocket full of greens? No? Just me? Okay. Thank you guys for hanging out with me in the garden today while I just kind of checked on everything, grabbed some lettuce for dinner. Hopefully by the end of the week when we do a garden tour, the garden will be cleaned up. My goal is to have it mulched and then planted, fully planted. I still have to plant the stuff in this bed, and then obviously the radishes, but my goal is to get that done in the next few days, and I'm hopeful that I can do it, you guys. But thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you soon.